The whimpering reached me before I saw her. Not the sound of prey, something worse, something that spoke of a mother's desperation. I stood frozen in my cabin doorway, the September twilight painting everything in shades of dying gold. She emerged from the pine shadows like smoke given form, a gray wolf, silver-coated, scarred. In her jaws hung something small and limp. My hands found the doorframe. 67 years walking this earth, and I'd never seen this. Wolves don't approach humans. They don't come to our doors. They don't beg. But she did. 3 feet from my threshold, she lowered her head and placed the cub on the wooden step. Blood darkened its fur. Its breathing rattled, shallow, desperate. The mother looked up at me with eyes that held no wildness, only raw, aching plea. I had 60 seconds to decide. Choose fear or choose faith. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments along with the city you're watching from now. Let's continue with the story. 3 hours earlier, I'd been sitting at this same kitchen table staring at an envelope I didn't want to open. The return address told me everything. Rocky Mountain Federal Bank, Foreclosure Department. My name is Samuel Eaglehart. Friends call me Sam. I'm 67 years old, Navajo, and until recently I thought I knew what rock bottom looked like. I was wrong. The letter sat beside my morning coffee. The cheap kind, because the good stuff was a luxury I couldn't afford anymore. $8,000. That's what stood between me and losing this cabin. 14 days to pay, or vacate the property my wife and I built with our own hands 40 years ago. I raised him, but I lost him. That's what they say about sons who disappear, isn't it? Daniel left 10 years ago, angry, drunk, broken. Told me I was a controlling old man who didn't understand him. Maybe he was right. I haven't heard his voice since. 3 years ago, Mary died in the bedroom down the hall. Cancer ate her from the inside while medical bills ate everything we'd saved. One medical bill away from losing everything. That's the American dream for folks like me. Social Security gives me $1,200 a month. My heart medication costs $400. You do the math. The cabin feels too big now, too quiet. I talk to Mary's photograph some mornings, just to hear a voice. Mine sounds old even to me, cracked and worn like dried leather. Eleanor Whitestone, my neighbor, stopped by that afternoon with coffee and cornbread. She's 73, Cherokee, been here 2 years. Never talks about where she came from, and I never ask. We're both too old and too tired for each other's pasts. "You look like hell, Sam," she'd said, setting the food on my table. "Feel worse." She'd noticed the bank letter. Her eyes, sharp as a hawk's despite her age, missed nothing. "How bad?" "Bad enough." "Let me help." "No." I'd said it harder than I meant to. Pride's a funny thing. It's all I had left. Before Mary died, she made me promise something. "Sam," she'd whispered, her hand cold in mine. "Promise me you'll keep protecting them. The wolves, the mountains, life itself." I'd promised. But after she was gone, I forgot. I forgot a lot of things. How to hope, how to care, how to see past my own grief. The sun was setting when Eleanor left. I sat on the porch, watching shadows stretch across the Rocky Mountain Valley. Early fall in Wyoming means golden light and the smell of pine. It means the world is beautiful, even when your heart is broken. That's when I heard the whimpering. The sound came from the north ridge, faint at first. Not the usual evening chorus of coyotes or the occasional elk bugle. This was different. a keening whimper that made my chest tighten. I stood from the porch rocker, joints protesting. The arthritis in my knees had been worse lately, probably because I'd skipped my medication 3 days running. Couldn't afford both pills and food, so I chose food. Seemed logical at the time. The whimpering grew louder. I stepped off the porch into the clearing, squinting into the twilight. The September air carried a chill that hadn't been there an hour ago. Through the pines, something moved. She came slowly, deliberately. No stalking crouch, no predatory slink, just steady, purposeful steps across the meadow grass. A wolf. No, the wolf. I'd seen her kind before in my younger days as a ranger, but never like this, never approaching. Her coat caught the dying light, silver gray like winter frost, marked with old scars across her shoulders. Battle-worn, survivor. In her jaws, she carried something small and dark. My breath caught. She stopped 30 feet away. We stood there, woman and man, predator and prey, in the oldest standoff known to nature. Except this wasn't a standoff. Her posture was wrong. Her ears were forward, not flat. Her eyes held mine, not with challenge, but with something I recognized from too many mirrors. Desperation. She walked closer. 20 feet. 15. Every instinct I'd learned in 40 years screamed at me to back away, to grab the rifle just inside the door, to do anything except stand there like a fool. But I didn't move. 10 feet now. I could hear her breathing, quick, anxious. The bundle in her mouth whimpered. A cub, small, limp. She reached my porch steps and stopped. For a moment nothing moved except the wind through the pines. Then, with infinite care, she lowered her head and placed the cub on the bottom step. The little thing barely stirred. Blood matted its fur. Dark, wet, wrong. One front leg bent at an angle that made my stomach turn. Its breathing came in shallow gasps that rattled in its tiny chest. The mother wolf lifted her head and looked at me. I've heard people talk about moments that change everything. Moments where the universe narrows to a single choice. This was mine. Her eyes weren't wild. They weren't fierce. They were a mother's eyes, and they begged. "Lord," I whispered. My hands trembled. "What are you asking me to do?" She didn't move, didn't threaten, just waited. My mind raced through everything I knew. Wolves avoid humans. They fear us, hate us, run from us. We've hunted them nearly to extinction. We've killed their packs, destroyed their homes. They have every reason to want us dead. But here she stood, offering me her child. I thought of Mary, thought of her last words, "Keep protecting them." I thought of Daniel, of the son I'd lost to pride and stubbornness. I thought of every choice I'd made that led to this moment. Every regret, every failure. Every night I'd sat alone wishing I could undo the past. This wolf mother knew something I'd forgotten. She knew that sometimes survival means trusting your enemy. Sometimes love means surrendering your pride. Sometimes the only way forward is to ask for help from the last person or creature you'd expect. I looked at the dying cub, looked at its mother, looked at my own trembling hands. Then I stepped forward. The wolf tensed but didn't retreat. I knelt slowly, every joint screaming, and reached for the cub. Its fur was soft under my fingers, warm despite the blood, so small, so fragile. I lifted it carefully, cradling it against my chest. The mother watched every movement. "All right," I said softly. "All right, Mama. I'll try." I carried the cub inside, my heart hammering against my ribs. Behind me I heard the soft pad of paws on wood. The mother wolf followed to the doorway and stopped, as if an invisible line kept her from entering. She lowered herself to the threshold, head resting on her paws, eyes never leaving her baby. Inside, my hands shook as I cleared the kitchen table. 30 years since I'd done emergency field medicine, and never on something this small, this wild. The cub, I could see now it was male, didn't fight as I laid him down. That scared me more than anything. Healthy animals fight. This one just lay there, chest rising and falling in terrible shallow gasps. The wound was worse than I'd thought. His right front leg was mangled, crushed, steel trap. I could see the tooth marks in the flesh, the way bones jutted wrong beneath torn skin. The leg had been caught for hours, maybe days, before his mother had somehow freed him. Infection had already set in. I could smell it, see it in the discolored tissue, feel it in the fever radiating from his small body. My medical supplies were pathetic. Bandages, expired antibiotics I'd been saving for myself, vodka that would have to serve as disinfectant, needle and thread meant for mending clothes. "This isn't enough," I whispered. From the doorway, a soft whine. I looked back at the mother. She hadn't moved, just watched with those desperate, trusting eyes. "I need to call someone," I told her like she could understand. "A vet. Dr. Red Cloud. She might—" But it was past 9 p.m. Kate wouldn't come until morning, if she came at all. This cub didn't have until morning. I pulled out my phone. My fingers fumbled over the screen, damn thing's too small for old hands, and finally found Kate's number. It rang 4 times. 5, 6. Come on. Sam?" Her voice was thick with sleep. "It's past 9. What's wrong?" "Kate, I need you now. I stopped. How did I explain this? "I have a wolf cub. He's dying." Silence. "Kate?" "Sam." Her voice changed, became careful. "You know I can't. It's illegal to treat—" I know what I'm asking, but he'll die without help." "Where did you get a wolf cub?" I looked at the mother in the doorway. "His mother brought him to me." Another silence, longer this time, then, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't let him go into shock." The line went dead. 20 minutes. I had to keep this little one alive for 20 minutes. I washed my hands in the sink, soap and water so hot it turned my skin red. Then I started cleaning the wound. The cub whimpered, the first real sound he'd made, and I felt it like a knife in my gut. "I'm sorry, little one. I'm sorry." The mother's whine from the doorway was worse. I worked as gently as I could, removing dirt and debris, flushing the wound with vodka. The cub's breathing grew more ragged. His heart fluttered against my palm like a trapped bird. "Stay with me," I murmured. "Your mama didn't bring you all this way for you to quit now." My own words hit me sideways. 35 years ago, I'd sat in a hospital, holding a newborn Daniel, counting his breaths just like this. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3. Mary had laughed at me. "Sam, let him breathe. You're too protective." But I couldn't help it. Breathing meant living. The cub's breathing faltered. "No." I pressed my ear to his chest. His heart still beat, but weak. So weak. Don't you dare quit." I looked at the mother. She'd raised her head, sensing the change. A low, mournful sound came from her throat, the sound of a mother watching her child slip away. Something in me broke. Please, I said, to God, to the universe, to Mary's ghost. Please don't take this one, too. I've lost too much already. Not this one. Not tonight. I started rescue breathing. Tiny puffs of air into the cub's nose and mouth, the way I'd been taught for small animals decades ago. 15 seconds. 30. 45. His chest rose on its own. Fell. Rose again. I pressed my forehead to the table, hands still cupped around him, and started to cry. Old man tears, hot and shameful, falling onto fur and wood. At the doorway, the mother wolf made a sound I'd never heard before. Not quite a whine, not quite a howl, something in between. It sounded like hope. Headlights swept across the cabin windows. Kate was early, thank God. But when I looked up, ready to call out, I saw something else. On the mother wolf's ear, barely visible in the porch light, was a small notch. And beneath it, nearly hidden by fur, a tiny scar in the shape of a tag mark. This wolf had been tagged before. By humans. By rangers. By someone she'd learned to trust. Kate Red Cloud arrived with a veterinary bag and no questions. She was 52, Cherokee, with silver threading through her long black hair and hands that moved with the certainty of someone who'd spent 30 years healing wounded things. She took one look at the mother wolf in the doorway, then at the cub on my table, and nodded once. Let's work. The mother didn't move as Kate entered, just watched, still as stone. We worked through the night. Kate examined the leg, took vitals, administered proper antibiotics and pain medication from her bag. The cub, still unconscious, barely responded. Compound fracture, Kate murmured, her fingers gentle along the damaged limb. Severe soft tissue damage. Infection is advanced. She looked at me. Sam, I need to be honest. Even with surgery, his chances are maybe 50-50. So we do surgery. It costs money, equipment, time. She paused. And it's illegal. Wildlife regulations? To hell with regulations. The words came out harder than I meant. That mother out there trusted me. I'm not failing her. Kate studied my face for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, but not here. We need my clinic. Proper sterile environment, imaging equipment, surgical tools. When? Tomorrow morning. For now, we stabilize him. She pulled out more supplies. IV fluids, better bandages, specialized antibiotics. What are you going to do about her? She gestured to the doorway. The mother hadn't moved in over an hour. Leave her be. She's not causing trouble. She's a wild wolf, Sam. She's a mother keeping vigil. Kate didn't argue. We worked until 3 a.m. By then, the cub's breathing had steadied. His fever dropped slightly. The IV dripped clear fluids into his tiny body, each drop a promise of maybe, possibly, hope. I collapsed into my chair, bones aching. Kate sat across from me, studying the cub with professional detachment that didn't quite hide the concern in her eyes. There's something I need to check, she said finally. She moved to the cub's ear, parting the fur carefully. I saw scarring, old tag marks. She pulled out a small device from her bag, a chip reader, passed it over the cub's neck and shoulder. Nothing. She tried the mother, moving slowly, speaking soft Cherokee words I didn't understand. The wolf allowed it, trusting. The reader beeped. She's chipped, Kate breathed. She looked at the display and her face went pale. Sam, this wolf was tagged 5 years ago. Part of a reintroduction program. By who? Kate turned the reader so I could see the screen. Registration name, Ghost Walker. Captured and tagged by Ranger M. Eagleheart. The world tilted. Mary, I whispered. Mary tagged this wolf. Kate pulled up the file on her phone, reading quickly. 5 years ago, your wife's team rescued a juvenile female wolf from poachers, rehabilitated her, tagged her, released her back into the wild. She looked up. Sam, this is that wolf. I stared at the mother in the doorway. Mary's wolf. Mary, who'd made me promise to protect them. Mary, who'd believed in second chances and the sanctity of wild things. There's more, Kate said quietly. She was reading further into the file. 3 years ago, this wolf's pack was tracked, 15 members, all radio-collared for study. Her voice caught. 12 were found dead, poached, illegal hunting. The rest, never found, presumed dead. She looked at the mother wolf. Except her. She survived. The pieces fell together. This wolf, Ghost Walker, Mary had named her, had lost everything. Her pack, her family, everyone except this one cub. And in her desperation, she'd remembered. Remembered the human who'd saved her once before, remembered the place where humans could be trusted. But Mary was gone, so she'd come to me instead. She knew, I said. My voice sounded far away. She knew this was Mary's cabin. Our scent is probably still here. She came to the only place she thought might help. Kate was quiet for a moment, then, I need to tell you something else. According to this file, when Mary released her, this wolf was pregnant. First litter. The tracking data showed 4 pups born that spring. I looked at the small cub on my table. Where are the others? Unknown. But Sam, Kate's voice gentled. This might be her last pup. Her only surviving offspring. Everything she has left. The weight of it crushed down on me. This wolf mother and I, we were the same. Both of us clinging to the last piece of family we had left. Both of us desperate, broken, begging the universe for one more chance. At dawn, Eleanor arrived with coffee and immediately froze. Sam Eagleheart. Is that a wolf on your porch? Yes. And that's a wolf cub on your table? Yes. She walked past the mother wolf like it was a house dog, set down the coffee and studied the cub. You're going to get yourself arrested. Probably. Good. Stupid laws anyway. She looked at Kate. You're the vet? Dr. Catherine Redcloud. Eleanor Whitestone. What does he need? Surgery. $3,000, and for everyone to keep their mouths shut. Eleanor pulled out her phone. I'll make calls. We'll have the money. Eleanor, no. Hush, Sam. I'm a rich old woman with nothing better to spend money on. Her eyes were fierce. Besides, you think I don't know what it's like to fight for the only family you have left? Something in her voice made me look closer. Eleanor, who never talked about her past. Eleanor, who'd appeared 2 years ago with no history and too much sadness. But she was already on the phone, speaking in low, urgent tones. By 9 a.m. we had a plan. Kate would transport the cub to her clinic. I would follow. The mother wolf, we'd have to hope she'd track us somehow. As we loaded the cub into a transport carrier, carefully, gently, the mother stood. For the first time in hours, she moved. Followed us to Kate's truck. "She'll run after us," Kate said. "Wolves can track for miles." "Will she keep up?" "If she's determined enough." Kate looked at the wolf. "And this one? She's determined." We drove slowly, 15 miles per hour, through the mountain roads. In the rearview mirror, I watched the mother wolf run. She never fell back, never lost us, just ran, steady and relentless, a silver-gray ghost flowing through the pine shadows. 20 miles to Kate's clinic, the longest drive of my life. At the clinic, Kate's assistant, a young man named Thomas, was waiting. He took one look at the wolf following us and laughed. "Dr. Red Cloud, your patients get weirder every year." "This one's special," Kate said. We brought the cub inside. The mother stopped at the clinic door, just like she'd stopped at my cabin. Some invisible line she wouldn't cross. Kate turned to me. "Surgery will take 3 hours. You should—" "I'm staying." "Sam, I'm staying." She didn't argue. Outside, the mother wolf lay down in the parking lot, head on her paws, eyes fixed on the door where her baby had vanished. We'd made a promise, her and I. Unspoken but absolute. Now we just had to keep it. The surgery took 4 hours, not 3. I sat in Kate's cramped waiting room, watching the clock tick, and my world shrink down to nothing but time and prayer. Eleanor had gone home to handle something she wouldn't explain. Outside, through the window, I could see the mother wolf. She hadn't moved. At hour 2, a young ranger appeared at the clinic door. Jake Morrison, 28, fresh-faced, by the book. I knew him from town. Good kid. Too good, maybe. He walked in, spotted me, and his expression shifted. "Mr. Eagleheart, I heard you were here. I heard—" He stopped, looked out the window at the wolf. "Sir, is that what I think it is?" My throat went dry. "Depends on what you think it is." "A wild wolf in a parking lot. While you're here with—" He lowered his voice. "Sir, you know I have to report this. Federal regulations, wildlife protection laws. That wolf brought her dying cub to my door last night, son. What was I supposed to do? Let it die?" "Yes." He said it quietly but firmly. "That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Non-interference. It's the law. Sometimes laws are wrong." Jake ran his hand through his hair, clearly torn. "Mr. Eagleheart, I respect you. I respected your wife. But if I don't report this, I lose my job. And you could face federal charges, heavy fines, maybe jail time. Then do what you have to do." I met his eyes. "But that cub is in surgery right now, and I'm not leaving until I know he makes it." We stared at each other. Young idealism versus old stubbornness. Finally, Jake sighed. "My sister has autism. Severe. She didn't speak until she was 8 years old." He sat down beside me. "You know what helped her? Therapy animals. Dogs, horses, even a rabbit once. Something about connecting with animals opened something in her brain that humans couldn't reach. Jake, I'm not reporting this, not today." He looked at his hands. "But other rangers patrol this area. And there's been talk. A rancher named Marcus Thornton has been asking questions, offering reward money for information about wolf locations." The name sent ice through my veins. "Marcus Thornton? You know him?" "Heard of him." Everyone in 3 counties had heard of Marcus. His son had been attacked by wolves 4 years back, left the boy paralyzed. Marcus's wife had died 2 years later. Suicide, people said, though no one talked about it much. Since then, Marcus had made it his mission to eliminate every wolf in Wyoming. He's legal, mostly, Jake continued, operates within hunting regulations, but he's ruthless. If he finds out about your cub, he won't. Sam. Jake used my first name, and his voice was gentle. You can't hide a wolf, especially once it's healed. What's your plan? Keep it as a pet? No, I'll release it. Where? When? How do you know it'll survive? That mother out there might not accept it back after human contact. These were good questions. Questions I didn't have answers to. The surgery room door opened. Kate emerged, pulling off latex gloves. Her face was exhausted but not defeated. He made it, she said. The leg is pinned and plated. Infection is serious, but the antibiotics should handle it. He'll need 6 to 8 weeks of recovery time. Relief hit me so hard I had to grip the chair arms. 6 weeks? Minimum. The bone needs to heal. The infection needs to clear. He'll need daily medication, wound care, physical therapy. She looked at Jake, then back at me. Sam, you understand what this means? You can't hide a wolf cub for 6 weeks. I'll figure it out. Where? Jake asked. Your cabin? Marcus Thornton goes hunting in that area twice a week. Then I'll be careful. Sam, this isn't up for debate. My voice came out harder than I intended. That mother out there trusted me with her baby. I'm not giving up because it's inconvenient or risky. Kate and Jake exchanged glances. All right, Kate said finally. Here's what we do. The cub stays here tonight for observation. Tomorrow, if he's stable, you take him home. I'll visit every 3 days to check on him. Thomas will help get supplies, medication, wound care materials, everything you need. I can't afford. Eleanor already wired $3,000 to my account this morning. She said to use whatever's left for supplies and follow-up care. My eyes burned. Damn stubborn woman. Jake stood. I'll give you 30 days. After that, if he's not released or relocated to a sanctuary, I have to report it. That's the best I can do. 30 days. I nodded. Thank you. He left without another word. Kate let me see the cub briefly. He was small and still on the surgery table, his leg wrapped in bright white bandaging, an IV still running clear fluids into his tiny body. His breathing was steady now, peaceful. He's a fighter, Kate murmured. Not many would have survived what he's been through. I touched his fur, soft, warm, alive. What should I call him? You're naming him? He needs a name, Kate smiled. In Cherokee we have a word, gatsesti. It means hope. Hope. I tried it out. It felt right. This small creature who'd brought purpose back into my empty life. Yeah. Hope. Outside, I approached the mother wolf cautiously. She lifted her head, watching me. He's alive, I told her. Surgery went well. He'll recover. She stared at me with those ancient, knowing eyes. You can't stay here tonight. Too many people. But tomorrow, I gestured toward the mountains. Tomorrow, I'll bring him home. You follow. You keep watch. Deal? The wolf blinked slowly. Then she stood, stretched, and trotted away into the tree line. Not fleeing, just waiting. I drove home as the sun set, painting the mountains in shades of amber and rust. Eleanor's truck was in my driveway. She was on my porch, and she wasn't alone. A man stood beside her, tall, weathered, angry-looking. 50s, maybe. Expensive rifle slung over his shoulder. Marcus Thornton had found me. "Mr. Eaglehart," he called out as I parked. His voice was rough like gravel. "We need to talk about the wolves." 6 weeks passed like a dream I was afraid to wake from. Hope healed, not just his leg, though that mended better than Kate had dared predict, but something deeper. He healed the cabin, healed me. Every morning I'd wake to find him curled at the foot of my bed, his dark gray fur rising and falling with peaceful breaths. Every evening, Ghost Walker would appear at the tree line bringing offerings, rabbits, once a young deer, and watching through the window as her son played gently with the old man who'd saved him. I hadn't smiled in 3 years. Now I smiled every day. But the world outside my cabin hadn't stopped. The bank foreclosure deadline came and went. Eleanor paid it without telling me. Used her divorce settlement, she finally admitted. "Marcus's money saving the wolves he tried to destroy," she'd said with bitter satisfaction. "Seems fitting." I'd argued. She'd won. My pride was no match for her stubborn generosity. Daniel called twice more. I answered the second time, my heart in my throat. "Dad?" His voice, older, but unmistakably my son's. We talked for an hour. About sobriety, about regret, about hope, the emotion and the wolf. "I'm coming home," he'd said. "This week. I need to see you." "Please come," I'd whispered. "Please." Young Jake Morrison visited every few days, officially checking on wildlife activity, unofficially falling in love with hope. "My sister would love this," he'd say, watching Hope limp around the cabin with his permanent slight gait, seeing how resilient animals can be. It would help her. But Marcus Thornton was hunting. I'd heard it from town gossip, from Jake's worried warnings. Marcus had trail cameras throughout the mountains. He'd caught Ghost Walker on film. He was tracking her, and time was running out. On day 32, Kate declared Hope ready for release. "His leg's healed as much as it's going to," she said, running her hands along the former injury. "He'll always limp, but he's strong, healthy. It's time, Sam." I'd known it was coming. Didn't make it easier. That evening, as the September sun painted everything gold, I carried Hope to the meadow. He'd grown so much, not quite full-sized, but no longer the dying creature from 6 weeks ago. He nestled against my chest one last time, and I felt my heart breaking. Ghost Walker emerged from the trees. She called softly. Hope's ears perked. I set him down in the grass. He looked at me, at his mother, back at me. "Go on, little one," I whispered. "Your mama's waiting." He hesitated, then limped to me, rose on his hind legs, placed his paws on my knee, and licked my weathered hand. His dark eyes held mine, a thank you, a goodbye, a promise that some bonds transcend species. Then he turned and limped to Ghost Walker. She sniffed him thoroughly, checking every inch of her returned son. Then she looked at me across the meadow. Deliberately, with ancient dignity, she bowed her head. I bowed back, tears streaming down my face. They disappeared into the forest. I stood alone in the darkening meadow, watching the place where they'd vanished, and whispered to Mary's ghost, "I kept your promise. I hope you're proud." The first stars were appearing when I finally turned toward home. That's when I heard the voices, rough, angry, coming from the northern trail. I moved quietly through the trees, my heart hammering. 3 men, flashlights, rifles, and leading them, Marcus Thornton. "Trail camera caught her an hour ago," Marcus was saying. "Moving this direction with a cub. We find them tonight. We end this." My blood ran cold. I stepped onto the trail. "Marcus?" 3 flashlights swung toward me. Marcus's weathered face appeared in the beams, his gray-blue eyes wild with obsession. "Eaglehart, what are you doing out here?" "Walking. It's public land." "Seen any wolves?" I met his gaze. "No." "Funny. My cameras say different." He pulled out his phone, showed me the image. Ghost Walker, clear as day, carrying Hope toward my property 2 nights ago. You sure about that answer? I'm sure. Marcus studied me for a long moment. Your wife protected wolves? Made it hard for ranchers? Made it hard for people like me to keep our families safe? Wolves aren't your enemy, Marcus. Tell that to my son, his voice cracked. Tell that to Ethan, who'll never walk again because of them. Tell that to my wife, who killed herself because she couldn't handle watching our boys suffer. Marcus, I'm going to find that mother wolf and her cub tonight, and I'm going to end every last one of them over my dead body. The words hung in the September night air. Marcus raised his rifle slightly. That can be arranged, old man. A howl broke the tension. Ghost Walker calling from deeper in the forest. There! Marcus took off running, his men following. I ran too, my heart pounding, joints screaming, chest tight with exertion and missing medication. Branches tore at my face, my boots slipped on pine needles, but I kept running. I reached the clearing as Marcus and his men cornered Ghost Walker and Hope against a rock outcrop. The mother wolf stood over her cub, teeth bared, protecting. Hope pressed against her flank, dark eyes wide with fear. Marcus raised his rifle, peering through the scope. I didn't think, just moved. I ran into his line of fire, arms spread wide. No, Marcus, don't! Get out of the way, Eagleheart! You'll have to shoot me first. I will if I have to. Then do it. But hear me first. I was shaking, gasping, barely standing, but I held my ground. I know what loss feels like, Marcus. I lost my son. He left 10 years ago, and I didn't know if he was alive or dead. I lost my wife 3 years ago. Cancer ate her from the inside while medical bills ate everything we'd saved. I know what it's like to lie awake at night with nothing but pain and anger and the terrible question of why me. Then you understand. I understand that revenge destroys you. I understand that killing them won't bring anyone back. Look at her, Marcus. I pointed at Ghost Walker. She's a mother, just like Linda was, just like every mother who's ever fought to protect her child. That cub there, he was dying, crushed in a steel trap. His mother brought him to my door because she'd learned, somehow, somewhere, that humans could help. She trusted me, the same species that killed her pack, the same species that's hunted her for years. She trusted me with her baby. Marcus's rifle wavered. What does that make you? I continued. What does it make any of us if we kill the ones brave enough to trust? They took everything from me. Eleanor's voice cut through the darkness. No, Marcus, you did. Everyone turned. Eleanor stood at the clearing's edge, illuminated by flashlight beams. Her silver-gray braid hung over one shoulder. Her dark eyes held Marcus's. Marcus stared. The rifle dropped an inch, then another. Linda? Not anymore. He stumbled backward. You're supposed to be dead. You died 2 years ago. They found nothing. Because I didn't die. I left. Eleanor stepped forward. I left you, Marcus. Because the man I married was gone. Hate killed him. Hate killed. You let me think. His voice broke. I mourned you. I blamed. You blamed the wolves. For everything. For Ethan. For me. For your pain. Eleanor's voice was steel wrapped in sorrow. But Marcus, there's something you need to know about that night. What night? The night Ethan was attacked. Marcus went rigid. What about it? Eleanor looked at me, at Ghost Walker still protecting Hope, then back at Marcus. Ethan lied to you about everything. The forest went silent. No. Marcus shook his head. No, he wouldn't. He was drunk. 17 years old and drunk. He went into wolf territory deliberately. He found their den and he provoked them. He hit trees with sticks. He threw rocks at the den entrance. The wolves warned him, gave him every chance to leave, but he didn't. And when the mother wolf attacked to protect her cubs, Ethan got hurt. That's not, he said. He lied because he was afraid you'd hate him, afraid you'd be disappointed. So he let you believe the wolves were monsters, and you built your entire crusade on that lie. Marcus's phone was in his hand, shaking. He dialed, put it on speaker. Dad? Ethan's voice, young and frightened. Son, I need you to tell me the truth about the night you were attacked. What really happened? Silence, then crying. Dad, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. The rifle clattered to the ground. Marcus collapsed to his knees. Eleanor's revelation destroying the foundation of 4 years of hate. And that's when my chest seized. The pain hit like a truck, radiating from my heart down my left arm, up into my jaw. The world tilted, my knees buckled. I heard Eleanor scream, saw Marcus look up in horror, felt the forest floor rushing toward my face. Then warmth, soft fur pressing against my side, a wet nose nuzzling my cheek. Ghost Walker had crossed the clearing, had broken every instinct to lie down beside me. Hope limped over, whimpering, licking my face. The last thing I heard before darkness took me was Marcus's broken voice. What have I done? Mr. Eagleheart. Marcus Thornton stepped off my porch, his rifle glinting in the fading light. Your neighbor here was just telling me you don't know anything about wolves in the area. Eleanor stood rigid, her face pale. Something was wrong, something beyond Marcus's presence. That's right, I said carefully. Haven't seen any. Funny. Marcus pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. Because my trail camera caught this 2 nights ago, right near your property line. The image showed the mother wolf, clear as day, carrying something in her mouth. My heart stopped. Now I'm not accusing you of anything, Marcus continued. But I've been tracking this particular wolf for 3 years. She killed my son's future, and I mean to return the favor. Your son was attacked 4 years ago, I said. How do you know it was this wolf? Because I've hunted her since, tracked her pack, found their den. His jaw tightened, killed most of them, but she keeps slipping away. Her and whatever pup she manages to hide. The casual way he said it, killed most of them, made my blood run cold. That's illegal, I said. Wolves are protected. Not when they're threats to livestock, not when they've attacked humans. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I operate within the law, Mr. Eagleheart. Mostly. But that wolf there? She's personal. Eleanor found her voice. Marcus, you need to leave, now. He turned to her, and something flickered across his face. Recognition? Confusion? Do I know you? He asked. No. She said it too quickly. Marcus studied her for a long moment, then shook his head. Maybe not. You just remind me of... He stopped. Never mind. I'll be going. But Mr. Eagleheart, if you see that wolf, you call me. There's a $1,000 reward. He climbed into his truck and drove away, dust rising behind him. I waited until he was gone before turning to Eleanor. What was that about? Nothing. Eleanor, drop it, Sam. Her voice shook. Just drop it. She left before I could press further. That night, I couldn't sleep. Hope was still at the clinic. The mother wolf was somewhere in the mountains, and Marcus Thornton was hunting them both. At 2 a.m., my phone rang. Kate. Sam, you need to get here. Now. Hope is crashing. I drove 90 miles an hour down mountain roads, my truck shaking, my hands numb on the wheel. When I burst into the clinic, Kate was in the surgery room, working frantically. Infection spread, she said without looking up. His fever spiked to 106. He's septic. Sam, I need you to assist. Thomas isn't answering his phone. I scrubbed my hands and helped. We worked for an hour. Antibiotics, fluids, cold packs to bring down the fever. Hope convulsed twice, stopped breathing once. Each time, Kate brought him back. At 4 a.m., he stabilized. He's not out of the woods, Kate said, collapsing into a chair. But he's fighting. I slumped beside her, exhausted. How much does a cub have to endure? As much as it takes to survive. She looked at me. Like all of us. The sun was rising when I finally left the clinic. In the parking lot, the mother wolf had returned. She sat in the exact same spot as yesterday, watching the door. He's still alive, I told her. Still fighting. She didn't move. I drove home, caught 2 hours of sleep, and woke to pounding on my door. Not Eleanor this time. Jake Morrison stood there, his face grim. Behind him, 2 more rangers. Sam, I'm sorry. Marcus Thornton filed a formal complaint. Claims you're harboring wildlife illegally. We have to search your property. My cabin was empty, of course. No wolf, no evidence. But I saw Jake's eyes linger on the bloodstains I hadn't quite scrubbed from the kitchen table. Clean house, he said finally. Nothing to report. The other rangers looked suspicious but said nothing. They left. Jake hung back. You've got maybe a week before Thornton escalates this. He's got lawyers, money, connections. What do you suggest? Get that cub to a sanctuary. Fast. I know a place in Montana. No! The word came out flat. His mother is wild. She stays wild. He stays with her. Then you're going to lose, Sam. Thornton won't stop until... I know. I met his eyes. But some things are worth losing for. Jake left, shaking his head. That afternoon, Kate called again. Hope is stable enough to transport. You can take him home. But Sam, he needs 24-hour monitoring for the next week. If his fever spikes again, I'll watch him. I brought Hope home that evening. His small body was wrapped in blankets, his injured leg immobilized in a splint. He whimpered when I lifted him, but didn't fight. The mother wolf was waiting at the tree line. She didn't approach, but I saw her. Watching. Always watching. Inside, I set up a recovery area near the fireplace. Soft blankets. Water. The medications Kate had provided. Hope lay still, his breathing shallow but steady. I sat beside him all night, counting breaths. 1, 2, 3. Somewhere around midnight, Eleanor knocked. I let her in. She looked at Hope, then at me. You're going to lose everything over this wolf, aren't you? Probably. The bank already started foreclosure proceedings, you know that, right? I figured. She sat down across from me. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Finally, she said, I knew Marcus Thornton. A long time ago. I waited. I was married to him for 28 years. The world tilted. You're Linda Thornton, the wife who died. Yes. She laughed bitterly. Except I didn't die. I ran, changed my name, disappeared. Why? Because the man I married was gone. Hate killed him. After Ethan was attacked, Marcus became obsessed, hunting wolves, blaming them for everything. I tried to stop him, tried to make him see reason, but he couldn't let it go. So you left? I left. Her voice broke. And I let him think I was dead because it was easier than watching him destroy himself. Does he know? Did he recognize you? Not yet. But he will if he keeps coming around. She looked at Hope. That's why I'm helping you. Because if you save this wolf, maybe it means something. Maybe it means there's still hope for creatures like us, the broken ones. I reached across and squeezed her hand. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We're not done losing. She was right. 2 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Dad? The voice hit me like a bullet. 35 years, and I'd know it anywhere. Daniel? Dad, He was crying. I'm sober. 10 years sober. And I'm coming home. I've been trying to call for weeks, but you never answered. Dad, I'm in Wyoming. I'll be there tomorrow morning. I need to see you. To tell you I'm sorry. Daniel. I couldn't breathe. Daniel. Yes. Yes, come home. I love you, Dad. I love you too, son. He hung up. I sat there in shock. Daniel was coming home. After 10 years, my boy was coming home. Hope whimpered from his blankets. I went to him, checked his temperature, still elevated but not dangerous, and gave him his medication. You hear that, little one? I whispered. My son's coming home. Outside, a howl rose into the night, the mother wolf singing. For the first time in 3 years, I felt something break open in my chest, something that had been frozen and dead. Hope. That night, I slept beside Hope on the floor. I dreamed of Mary, of Daniel, of wolves running free through mountains, untouched by hate. I woke at dawn to pounding on my door. Violent, urgent. Marcus Thornton stood there with 4 men, all armed. I know you have that wolf, Marcus said. His eyes were wild. Saw the mother near your property last night. Tracked her here. She's protecting something. And that something is inside your cabin. You can't come in here without a warrant. Don't need a warrant if I suspect illegal wildlife activity. Federal law. He pushed past me. I grabbed his arm. Marcus, don't. He shook me off. I'm 67 and half his size. I hit the floor hard. Marcus and his men spread through my cabin. It took them 30 seconds to find Hope. There, Marcus said, pointing to the wolf cub by the fireplace. That's the pup, the mother's last one. One of his men raised a rifle. No! I scrambled up. He's injured. He's recovering. You can't just... Watch me! Marcus's voice was ice. This bloodline ends today. Eleanor's truck screeched into my driveway. She ran inside, saw what was happening, and positioned herself between Marcus and Hope. Marcus Thornton, you put that gun down. Marcus stared at her, really looked at her this time. Recognition dawned. Linda, put the gun down. You're supposed to be dead. His voice cracked. You died 2 years ago. I left you, Marcus, because you were so consumed with hate you couldn't see what you were becoming. I did everything for you, for Ethan. You did it for revenge, and it's destroyed you. They faced each other across my small cabin, 2 people who'd loved each other once, now standing on opposite sides of a wolf cub's life. Then the door opened again, and Daniel walked in. Dad? My son stood in the doorway, thinner than I remembered, beard threaded with premature gray, but alive, real, home. Daniel. His name came out like a prayer. He took in the scene. Marcus with a rifle, Eleanor blocking Hope, armed men scattered through my cabin, and his face hardened. What the hell is going on? Stay out of this, son, Marcus said. This doesn't concern you. That's my father on the floor. It concerns me. Daniel helped me up, his hands gentle but shaking. Dad, are you hurt? I'm fine. I looked at him, really looked at him. Sober eyes, clear, present. You came home. I came home. He held my gaze. I'm sorry it took so long. Marcus shifted impatiently. Touching reunion. Now move aside. I'm taking that wolf. No. Daniel positioned himself next to Eleanor. You're not. Boy, I don't know who you think you are. I'm Samuel Eagleheart's son. This is my father's home, and you're trespassing with weapons. One of Marcus's men muttered, Boss, maybe we should— Shut up! Marcus's finger moved to the trigger. That wolf killed my son's future. I'm ending its bloodline today. Eleanor's voice cut through like a blade. No, Marcus. Ethan's lies killed his future. Everyone froze. What? Marcus's face went white. Tell him, Eleanor said to me. Show him the phone. Show him what Ethan confessed. I don't know what I started. Yes, you do. The night before I left, Ethan told me the truth. He was drunk when the wolves attacked. He provoked them. He went into their territory deliberately, carrying a stick, hitting trees, making noise. He wanted to prove he was brave. The wolves defended their den. It was self-defense, Marcus, not murder. Self-defense. You're lying. Marcus's voice shook. My son wouldn't. Call him. Ask him yourself. He's carried that guilt for 4 years. That's why I left, Marcus. Not because of the wolves. Because you built your entire crusade on a lie, and I couldn't watch you destroy yourself anymore. Marcus pulled out his phone with trembling hands. Dialed. Put it on speaker. 3 rings. 4. Dad? Ethan's voice, young and frightened. Son, I need you to tell me the truth. About the night you were attacked. What really happened? Silence. Then crying. Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Just tell me. I was drunk. I went into the woods alone. I wanted to see wolves up close. Wanted to prove I wasn't scared. I found their den and I hit trees with a stick. I wanted them to come out. And they did. A mother with cubs. She warned me. She growled and showed her teeth. But I didn't leave. I threw rocks at the den. I was stupid and drunk and— Stop. Marcus's face had gone gray. Stop talking. She attacked to protect her babies, Dad. Not because she was evil, because I was threatening her children. It was my fault. All of it was my fault, and I was too afraid to tell you because— Marcus hung up. The phone clattered to the floor. For a long moment no one moved. No one breathed. Then Marcus collapsed. Not physically. His body stayed upright. But something inside him crumbled. I saw it happen. Watched 4 years of hate and purpose disintegrate in an instant. Everything, he whispered. I killed 12 wolves, destroyed their dens, hunted them like— He looked at Eleanor. You knew. You knew and you left me. I tried to tell you. You wouldn't listen. Linda. He reached for her, then stopped. What have I done? You let hate consume you. You chose revenge over truth, over me, over our son. I thought I was honoring you, getting justice for Ethan. Ethan didn't want justice. He wanted forgiveness. From you. From himself. From the universe. Eleanor's voice softened. and you couldn't give it to him because you couldn't forgive yourself for not being there that night. Marcus sank into my kitchen chair, head in his hands. His men shifted uncomfortably, unsure what to do. Daniel spoke quietly. I know something about guilt, about letting it eat you alive, about building your whole identity around one terrible mistake. He looked at me. I was an alcoholic, sir. Angry, destructive. I blamed my dad for everything wrong in my life. Walked out 10 years ago saying things I can never take back. Son, I started. Let me finish, Dad. Daniel's eyes were wet. It took me 8 years to get sober. 2 more to build the courage to come home. And every day of those 10 years I carried the guilt, the shame, the certainty that I'd destroyed the one relationship that mattered most. He turned to Marcus. But here's what I learned. Guilt without change is just self-indulgence. Real atonement means action, means making different choices, means having the courage to stop hurting the people you love. Marcus looked up at him. I've killed so many. Then save them now. You can't undo the past. None of us can. But you can choose differently today. Hope whimpered from his blankets. All eyes turned to the small wolf cub, vulnerable and wounded, unaware he was the center of everything. Marcus stood slowly, walked to where Hope lay, knelt down. This is the pup of the wolf I've been hunting, he said softly. The last of her line because I killed the rest. Eleanor joined him. This is also the child of a mother who loved her babies enough to beg a human for help, who trusted, despite every reason not to. Marcus reached out with one shaking hand and touched Hope's fur. The cub didn't flinch, just looked at him with dark, trusting eyes. And Marcus broke. He sobbed, deep, wrenching sounds that came from somewhere primal. Eleanor wrapped her arms around him. After 4 years of separation, after death and lies and grief, she held her husband while he cried. I can't fix this, Marcus gasped. I can't bring them back. No, Eleanor said, but you can protect what's left. You can honor them by making sure their sacrifice meant something. One of Marcus's men cleared his throat. Boss, what do you want us to do? Marcus stood, wiping his eyes. Go home. All of you. And spread the word. No more hunting on my land. No more bounties. It's over. But, sir, it's over. They left, confused but obedient. Marcus turned to me. Mr. Eagleheart, I owe you an apology. More than one. I threatened you, invaded your home, tried to kill something you were protecting. I have no right to ask, but, he paused. What can I do to make this right? I looked at Hope. At the mother wolf I could see through the window, still keeping vigil. At Daniel, my son, who'd come home. At Eleanor, who'd saved us all by choosing truth over silence. Help me save them, I said. Help me create a place where wolves can heal, where people can learn they're not monsters, where we can undo some of the damage. A sanctuary? A sanctuary. Marcus nodded slowly. I have land, 3,000 acres bordering national forest. It's yours, for the wolves, for whatever you need. Eleanor smiled. He means it, Sam. When Marcus commits to something, he doesn't do it halfway. There's something else. Daniel pulled an envelope from his jacket. I've been saving for 10 years. Everything I earned staying sober. I was going to use it to prove I'd changed, to show you I was worth. His voice cracked. It's $10,000. Use it for the sanctuary, for hope, for whatever you need, Dad." I couldn't speak, could barely breathe. "Sam," Eleanor squeezed my shoulder. "The bank foreclosure, I already paid it off. Your cabin is safe." "Eleanor, that's too much." "Hush. It's my divorce settlement money, Marcus's money, technically. Seems fitting to use it for wolves, doesn't it?" I looked around my small cabin, at these broken people who'd become my family, at the wolf cub who'd brought us together, at the mother still watching through the window. "We'll need permits," I said, "legal documentation, a veterinary partnership, educational programs. It's going to take time." "We have time," Daniel said. "And we have each other," Eleanor added. Marcus cleared his throat. "And I have lawyers. Good ones. They can handle the legal requirements." Kate appeared in the doorway. I hadn't heard her truck arrive. "And I have medical expertise, plus a daughter who just finished her veterinary degree. We're in." Jake Morrison was behind her. "And you have me. I'll liaison with fish and wildlife, make sure everything's above board." Hope made a small sound, not quite a whimper, not quite a yip, almost like a question. I knelt beside him. "Yeah, little one, I think we're going to make it." The days that followed were a blur of activity. Marcus converted his ranch into sanctuary land, fencing, shelters, rehabilitation areas. Daniel stayed, working beside me every day. We talked while we worked, about Mary, about the lost years, about forgiveness. "I'm sorry, Dad," he said one afternoon, "for leaving. For all those years you didn't know if I was alive or dead." "I'm sorry, too," I told him, "for being too controlling, for not listening when you needed me to hear you." "Mary told you I'd come home?" "She did, the night before she died. Said love always finds its way home." Daniel wiped his eyes. She was right. Eleanor and Marcus moved slowly, cautiously back toward each other. Not as husband and wife, not yet, maybe never again, but as partners in a shared mission. "Do you think you'll reconcile?" I asked Eleanor one evening. "I don't know. He's trying, really trying, but trust takes time to rebuild." She smiled. "Good thing we have time." Hope healed quickly with proper care. After 6 weeks his leg had mended, though he'd always walk with a slight limp. Kate cleared him for release. The evening we chose was clear and cold, March in Wyoming, with spring just beginning to wake the mountains. We drove Hope to the meadow on the sanctuary land. The mother wolf, Ghost Walker, as Mary had named her, appeared from the trees. She approached cautiously, sniffed Hope, licked his face, and for a moment Hope hesitated. He looked back at me, at Daniel, at all the humans who'd saved him. "Go on," I whispered. "Your mama's waiting." Hope limped to Ghost Walker. She nuzzled him, checking every inch of him, and then, miracle of miracles, she looked at me, held my gaze, and bowed her head. In the native way, I understood. Acknowledgement, gratitude, respect. I bowed back. Ghost Walker and Hope disappeared into the sanctuary forest. But they didn't leave. Over the following weeks, we'd see them. Hope playing in the meadows, playing in the Ghost Walker teaching him to hunt. And slowly, other wolves appeared. Lone wolves, displaced wolves, injured wolves who'd heard somehow, the way animals do, that this was a safe place. By summer, we had 12 wolves. By fall, Hope had grown strong and confident. And one morning, I came to the meadow and saw Ghost Walker with 4 new cubs. She's pregnant. Daniel laughed. Hope's getting siblings. The sanctuary thrived. We opened to educational tours. School groups came to learn about wolves, not as monsters, but as families, as survivors, as beings worthy of respect. Marcus spoke to groups sometimes, telling his story. I let hate blind me, he'd say. Cost me my marriage, my peace. Nearly cost innocent lives. Don't make my mistake. Don't let pain turn you into something you're not. Ethan visited monthly, wheeling through the accessible paths we'd built. Hope wasn't afraid of the wheelchair. Would come right up to Ethan, letting the young man touch his fur. I'm sorry, Ethan would whisper each time. I'm so sorry. And Hope, in his way, seemed to forgive. One evening in October, exactly 1 year after Ghostwalker had appeared at my door, I sat on my porch with Daniel. We watched the sunset paint the mountains gold. You know what Mary said? I told him. She said, Sam, promise me you'll keep protecting them. The wolves, the mountains, life itself. You kept your promise, Dad. We kept it, all of us together. From the sanctuary, a howl rose. Ghostwalker calling to her pack. Hope answered, his voice strong and sure. Then another wolf and another. A chorus of voices singing to the coming night. Daniel and I added our voices, the way my ancestors taught me. Human and wolf, harmonizing. My phone buzzed. A text from Kate. Ghostwalker's cubs are healthy, all 4 thriving. Life finds a way. I smiled, texted back. Yes, it does. That night, I placed a new photograph on the mantel next to the old one. Mary, young Sam, baby Daniel in one frame, older Sam, adult Daniel, and Hope in another. 2 generations, 2 families, connected by love that transformed but never died. I walked outside one last time. The sanctuary spread before me, fenced but free, protected but wild. Wolves moved through the shadows, safe for perhaps the first time in their lives. Ghostwalker appeared at the meadow's edge. Hope beside her, nearly grown now, she looked at me across the distance, and I understood. This was what Mary had known, what she'd tried to teach me, that love doesn't end. It transforms, it grows, it finds new shapes and new purposes, that saving one life can save so many others, that home isn't just a place, it's a choice, a commitment, a circle that keeps expanding to include the broken, the lost, the ones nobody else wanted to save. I'd lost my wife, found my son, saved a wolf, and in doing so, saved myself. Thank you, I whispered to Mary's ghost, to Ghostwalker, to the universe that had brought us all together. From the sanctuary, Hope howled, and all of us, human and wolf, broken and healing, answered. We were home. Sometimes the hardest thing we ever do is simply trust again. After loss, after heartbreak, after the years have taken people we loved, it feels safer to close our doors, to stop hoping, to convince ourselves we're fine alone. But Sam's story reminds us of a beautiful truth. It's never too late to open your heart. Not to a son who's been gone 10 years, not to neighbors who become family, not even to a wounded creature who shows up at your door asking for help. The deepest happiness doesn't come from avoiding pain, it comes from choosing connection despite the risk, From choosing to protect something vulnerable when the world says it's not worth saving. From choosing to forgive when forgiveness feels impossible. Every one of us carries losses. Every one of us knows what it means to wonder if the best days are behind us. But what if they're not? What if one act of compassion, one moment of saying yes instead of no, could transform everything? What if home isn't something we've lost, but something we're still building? Have you ever saved something or someone that ended up saving you? What does coming home mean to you at this stage of life? Share your story in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.